I am Alison Shlom. I go by the artist name Muffy. I've been a writer longer than I've been anything, I think. I'm a fine artist, a writer, and a lawyer from Seattle. I'd say that the meaning of feminism showed up in my life way earlier than the word feminism. I can more easily pinpoint the experience of feminism. My mom was a professional and she made a lot of money and helped support the family in a very significant way. And so I always had her as a role model in terms of what my life could look like as a working person. It was just normal to me that a woman could be successful in her career and could have a high up role in whatever company, and support a family. So I just saw that as normal. And so that was never something, for me, that was just something that was like, okay, so I can also be a woman who can support herself and can be independent. Yeah, the word feminism, I don't really know exactly when it showed up in my life first. Yeah, I think I just immediately accepted it, probably in high school, as meaning equality of the sexes. I consider my career as a lawyer to be the patron of my art. It's basically what gives me the means to create art without being concerned about the commercial aspects of selling art and relying on art financially for the moment. I've always dealt with insecurities and have been looking for ways to reclaim my body. And so in the past, like during law school, I liked meeting with photographers and exploring photography and modeling to a sense, and that was not received well by my fellow students. I heard after the fact that it was one of the reasons why I was looked over for a certain position in a certain group that I was in, when I otherwise think that I would have been pretty good at it. Yeah, so the expression of myself, because it wasn't anything crazy, like it was just expressing myself, maybe in a way that others would be uncomfortable with doing themselves, but it was an interesting experience of shame when I found that out, that was a reason for making a decision like that. And so it definitely resulted in me censoring myself more. It was pretty early on, if not right away, when I realized that I wanted to have an artist name, because since I'm a lawyer, I wanted to not feel restrained as to what I could explore. And the term muff, it's a word that means like lady, kind of, but it's a bit derogatory. Even in the English language, it's oftentimes used in a derogatory kind of way. So I thought it would be kind of cool to use it in a way that's reclaiming. Yeah, and when you say it really slow, it's like Mafi, which is my daughter. So I hadn't really thought about that before, but I'm sure in the back of my brain somewhere, it's like with a lot of things in art, it's like you don't really always realize things until after the fact. And so somewhere in my subconscious, things were happening, and it's fine to find meaning after the fact, for sure. Yeah. I basically, through law, I realized that there's this balance, I guess, in America and everywhere else, where trying to preserve the environment versus innovation is maybe the nicest word for it, for progression of corporations and capitalism. The environment is one of the things that are sacrificed the most. So it's trying to find this balance between a society that's progressing in certain ways, but at the sake of the environment, it's kind of crazy. Man, I really want to paint a cow and explore cows more, because I think they go through so much, especially female cows, because motherhood has completely been commodified and they go through constant torture, especially in the dairy industry, which then perpetuates the meat industry. and it's really linked to motherhood. And I think there are parallels to human motherhood because, again, motherhood's been commodified, and women or people who have uteruses, like, that's been commodified, and attempts to control people with uteruses, like with abortion restrictions. It's just interesting, the attempt to control motherhood as something that's owned by someone else and forced. I've been wanting to write a book for a while, and as I was reading one of the books here, I kind of had this moment of realization of making a book that I think I would want, which I do want, is more something with information about how to actually act as a feminist. So we know the what, the why, but how. And I think that's something that, of course, we're all kind of learning, but it would be really interesting to explore that more and do the research and provide guidance for people, so that way there's less guessing and there's more actual action taking place. And I mean, I think veganism is like a very easy one, so just making it more mainstream, I think, is helpful.